Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, butterflies are starting to flutter as matric pupils await the release of the results on Thursday. Quality assurer Malusi has placed its stamp of approval on the results, but it raised concerns over allegations of cheating involving pupils, teachers and officials. Let's get the latest now from NAPTOSA's Executive Director, Basil Manuel. Thank you very much, Mr. Manuel, for your time here on eNCA. That time of the year again, when you'll be speaking to quite a lot of media houses in terms of Thursday's release of the matric results. But of course, there's that concern, especially coming from the province like Mpumalanga, where teachers and pupils are being investigated. Many believe that the pupils should be given a second chance because they're still young, and it's the teachers that should be sanctioned. What do you think?
I think it cuts both ways, but good afternoon, first of all, and thanks for having me. I think it cuts both ways because, for one, let's make it very clear. These teachers are miscreants in the system. They give teachers a bad name. But it's even bigger than that. They are cheapening the entire exit certificate. And if this continues, the exit certificate will be disrespected. People won't see it for its worth, which is an access certificate to so many other things. And we know how much value we put on that. But at the same time, these learners are adults themselves. They are young adults. And whilst I am of the view that we must never punish people permanently, I do believe that these learners also need to bear the brunt of some punishment, because not only were they involved, but some of their parents were involved in this too, because learners wouldn't have found the money that easily. They were funded from somewhere else. But we can only draw final conclusions when one's investigations have been completed. And that is why we want this hurried, because the longer it drags on, the more the taintedness starts showing.
Now, the DA in that province, Mr. Manuel, believes that the schools at which this alleged cheating took place should be named and shamed. Do you agree? I mean, a lot of people would say, you know, what about those pupils who didn't cheat or those teachers who didn't cheat? And now the school is put in a bad light. And because you're at the school, now you are guilty by association.
I tend to agree with the latter view. There's no value in tainting children in grade 8 and grade 9 and grade 10. There's no value in destroying the school completely because it was so unfortunate to have a number of miscreants in its number. There are people that must be named and shamed eventually. We must see who these teachers are that have misled our learners. And we must see that justice has been done, that they have been that the full brunt of the law has been brought to bear on them. Because we can't have this continuing. We are creating a culture from as low as matric, where people start believing that the way of life must be to cheat to get ahead. And we can't do that. But to destroy an entire school's reputation, because in the next year, who wants to go to a school that has such a bad name? Who wants to be associated with such? We must be very careful before we start brandishing things like that around, because it has long-term impacts on people that have had nothing to do with it, even teachers in their midst that had nothing to do with it.
Should Umalusi have given the department the green light to release these results on Thursday with this dark cloud and the investigations that are still continuing?
Yes, absolutely, because we need to have perspective. We must see that this is a very, very small percentage of people, of learners, of schools involved, and we know who they are. Certain actions are already being taken. Some of these teachers were not allowed to go and mark matric marking, and we know that it's a process. It's not just an event, but 99.99% of learners didn't even know that such things are possible. How can we not endorse their results? And so Malusi has done the right thing. Malusi themselves has expressed concern that the whole irregularities issue, as we call any form of copying, is becoming a little more commonplace because things are evolving. Whether it be instrumentation, etc., that is making copying far more sophisticated than it was when you and I were at school, for example, when people had to have little pieces of paper and the like. That doesn't happen anymore. It's moved to another level. And our surveillance and our methodologies must also move to another level so that people know and are then discouraged from trying to do these things.
And I assume, as a person who's an executive director at a teachers' union, you would not, I believe, for instance, advise the teachers who are found guilty, if they are found guilty after this investigation, to use the union to fight against this with government, right? Because sometimes, you know, teachers are seen as people who hide behind the unions.
And it's a difficult relationship because, remember, as in any place, you have to be proven guilty first. You can't be simply just judged to be guilty without due process. So if one of these happen to be members, and heaven forbid, of NAPTOSA, we will represent them. But of course, when they are found guilty, we will also take other steps because we don't want to be associated with the rot in the system that gives all teachers a bad name. But they are entitled to representation, and they must be treated fairly too, because we want the outcome to be credible, even of a hearing against people who have cheated in the system.
And lastly, Mr. Manuel, do you think enough has been done by the department and all stakeholders to safeguard this certificate? Because like you said in your answer to my first question, it just makes it look a little bit, it weakens it, right? When you see a lot of cheating, and every year we've seen it get worse. It used to just be the transportation of the papers, and suddenly someone who's transporting the papers let it, let a school pupil see it. Now you're finding teachers helping pupils cheat. So do you think enough is being done to actually make sure that this certificate is still considered worthwhile?
Enough is a difficult one because how much is enough? I know a lot is being done, and certainly we've traveled the road with the DBE and with the exam section, and we know just how much effort is put into ensuring that these things don't happen. But then when you are working with a couple of 100,000 people, and the integrity of every person has to be respected first before you question it. Things go wrong. There are many, many people in the system. So I think a lot has been done. But as I said in just a previous response, we now need to adapt our systems to all the new methodologies out there so that we stay on top of the prevention and not only look at it after something bad has happened. The cure is not the issue. It is the prevention that must be primary, and we must up our game as the DBE as well.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Manuel. NAPTOSA's Executive Director, Basil Manuel, speaking to us there. I appreciate your time.